Good morning, Terrace View Presbyterian Church. Here we are on the first Sunday of Advent. Who would have thought that as we virtually celebrated the risen Christ on Easter Sunday in April, we would still be gathering virtually as we begin Advent in November? I know. We are all tired of not being together. This is hard on each and every one of us. But the good news is we can still journey through Advent. We can journey together as we prepare for the celebration of Jesus' birth. Those words that we hear all so often every year from Isaiah. For us a child has been born, a son given to us. Authority rests upon his shoulders, and his name, Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. This verse will be the basis for our Advent journey this year. I don't know about you, but I honestly have never thought about all of these titles that were given to the anticipated Messiah, Jesus, the baby. When you read those titles, goodness, that is a lot to live up to for a small baby. No pressure at all. But even though this verse talks about a baby, early Christians relied heavily on the Old Testament anticipation of the coming of the Messiah. And they anticipated that that person would most likely be, well, a grown-up. And in fact, the Messiah came in the form of a humble baby. You can imagine how much that really messed them up. In fact, since Jesus did not fit all of those anticipations, it took a great deal of time and energy and thought to be able to connect with the actual reality of a human baby, Jesus. Wonderful Counselor. Counselor. Wisdom, guidance. One who can provide knowledge and leadership. Wonderful. A modifier for the noun counselor. The new king will have extraordinary wisdom and care. The anticipation of the Messiah was grounded in peace and prosperity, a season of great light that would bring them out of the darkness of the Assyrian leadership. The early Christians looked for someone who would be wise to help change the government. The rule of Hezekiah was beyond disappointing, and the people wanted something better. They needed something better. Here we are, wanting the same. In the midst of this pandemic we're in, perhaps we are feeling the same as the early Christians. We are looking for change. We're looking for leadership that can move us forward with wisdom and knowledge so that we can become a country, once again, of good health. We want to be normal, whatever normal is. We so desire to be normal again in our everyday lives. This leadership role is not going to be easy for anyone. And there will be challenges, ups and downs, and yes, even failures. We too are looking for that light in the darkness. Just like the early Christians were looking for that light. Connecting Jesus to Old Testament expectations, the expectations that the Messiah would be received as king, as counselor. The king will be wise and devise plans to move people out of darkness into the light. We can only hope the same for us. The challenge will be the people Will they accept that little baby, that Messiah, as he grew in age and in leadership? Jesus sees and acts beyond the conventional assumptions of what was expected of that coming Messiah. Jesus led in ways that were differently and not expected, which often caused great concern. You can only imagine as he taught and tried to change things and tried to educate people in different ways, how much the grumpiness of the rulers was there. Wonderful Counselor. Jesus knew and saw the needs of the people that he ministered to and among, wanting them to understand if they really, truly, and completely relied on God, they would indeed live in the light. Much like us. When we look at the passage from Luke, we learn that Mary knew even before her baby son was born that he would be a strong and mighty leader, bringing down powerful thrones, lifting the oppressed, feeding the hungry. He would be a servant of and to all. If those early Christians and Old Testament leaders had heard Mary, they probably would have thought she was a little out of touch with reality and not believed she knew so much about that unborn child she was carrying. Mary trusted all God had told her in anticipation of the birth of her son. And even though she really didn't understand all of it, she trusted. As we move through this very different Advent season, we too need to be like Mary, trusting God, even if we're a little unsure. We trust in anticipation of the birth of the Messiah, that little baby who comes so humbly and is laid in a manger. Through the words from Isaiah, Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Yes, just as to early Christians and Old Testament scholars, those words come to us at just the right time, just when we need them the most, just when we're most exhausted. And we too look with expectation to the day when we will be moved from the darkness into the light, when our lives will once again be normal, whatever normal might be.